So eager is Jenniquinard to talk to you, it is almost as if there were a giant exclamation point hovering above his head. Now that Forlamont has so graciously agreed to discontinue his meddling in our affairs, I believe we may find our peers and colleagues more receptive to our proposals. Perhaps I shall begin with another trip to the vault to inquire about them reconsidering my petition to grant Lady Lavala the opportunity to speak with the Conclave. We all have our strengths, Jenniquinard, and none will deny yours is convincing seemingly sane people to do your bidding. Tolucc here is a testament to that. I look forward to hearing of your progress. As for myself, there are still some questions I need answered. The first being, how exactly did Forlamont come into contact with the Charlian assassins? Quimpering, attend me. I wish to visit Foundation and learn if there have been any sightings of suspicious foreigners. Might I suggest that Tolucc do the same here at the Observatorium? Perhaps a second call on our new ally will help mine uncle recall aught that may have been predetermined in the heat of the previous moment. Seven hells, I rue the day I ever see another Charlian. Please, I've done all you asked. What more do you want from me, blood? Or are you simply here to boast? Or mayhap you wish to know how the Charlians came to be involved in my scheme. Ha! I thought as much. If it was so important, why didn't your Lady Lavala ask me earlier? Her head is so far in the stars she fails to see what unfolds around her on the ground. The truth is, it was never my scheme in the first place. It was the Charlians. They came to me not long after Professor Mace's ship was diverted to Thanalan. Yes, I said diverted. The pirates in the Strait of Melthor, the magically manipulated storms off the Ranato, all staged to prevent your friends from ever arriving. But when they did, the Charlians were forced to change their plans. They required help hiring local hands discreetly, something they could not do as foreigners. I agreed to lend them my aid because I felt we both stood some benefit from the disappearance of Jenniquinard and that foul chit. The Chief Astrologian? There's rarely a day when he isn't meeting with visitors from across the realm and beyond. Why, this past moon he has been entertaining guests with very distinct markings on their face. I asked Lord Forlamont whence they hailed, and he only answered, the north. The Charlians came to him? That can only mean, then, that my uncle was only a pawn in a much larger game. A game that began long before we ever became involved. Think back to, like, the bandits in the Black Shroud, and those pirates you described that attacked you in Limsa Laminsa? They all had strange facial markings, as did our false Astrologian. It's not much, but perhaps Lady Lavala will be able to make more sense out of it all. Despite the time we have spent together, I have the feeling she has yet to be completely honest with us. But look at me. A beloved relative tries to have me killed, and the next day I'm beginning to doubt everyone. What a sad, sad state of affairs. Perhaps to clear my head, I should call in that fine young Viscountess visiting hail Helenart from her family's stead in the Eastern Highlands. This information on Forlamont's associates should be relayed to Lady Lavala immediately. Would you be so kind? I seem to recall saying that they'd be questioning Highborn in the Pillars. Milady, were you able to learn anything of import at the Observatorium? Lord Forlamont was not the only one to hire the Charlians? Lady Lavava will want to know. Lady Lavava? Lady Lavava, she was right here! We must find her. I would not think any harm could come to her here in the center of the Holy See, but then again, that is what we believed back at Camp Dragonhead. I shall search the Hoplon. Might I ask that you search in the opposite direction near the last vigil? I'm sorry, I think you have mistaken me for someone else. Tolucc, when you were speaking with Quiperin, someone approached me from behind and placed a dagger to my back. I had no choice but to be led silently away. Luckily, my assailant let me down his guard when we arrived in the shadows, and I was able to deliver him a swift kick in the groin. I've been running ever since. So FORELANDS wasn't the architect of this scheme to drag me back to Charlayan after all. I had my suspicions. I was a fool to believe they would simply let me leave. Do you recall when I mentioned there were people in the old world intent on hoarding our nation's knowledge? Well, it appears that my efforts to train you and the Geniquinard had attracted their ire. Tolucc, allow me to apologize. I have not been wholly frank with you about my reasoning for visiting Eorzea. The truth is, I came here because of my father. My father dreamed of rekindling the Holy See's interest in the Charlayan astrology, believing that it would be of great benefit to the embattled people of ISHGARD. He came here several moons after I was born, intending to remain for only a season. However, he never made his return. His dream was left unrealized, and his newborn daughter left without a father. Never once did I meet him, but every night when I look at the stars, I know that those are the same skies he too gazed upon, the same skies he used as his strength and guide. It is only natural that I follow in his footsteps, in spite of his objections from my mother, who did not wish to see her only daughter lost as well. And here I am in Eorzea, almost 2 decades later, pursuing a dream my father never lived to realize, a dream that has become my own, and now someone is trying to stop me. Well, just let them try, I say. Just let them try. Lady Lavava, a maiden of your beauty should not wander off without an escort. Monsters hide even in the shadows of the pillars. Maiden? Flattery will earn you nothing, Geniquinard, but I will accept it nonetheless. Tell me, what did the vault say to our proposal? They accepted it. We have been given official permission by the Holy See to conduct a symposium on the wonders of Charlayan astrology, with you as our guest speaker. Now come, we must hurry back to the Anatheum and begin preparations. More than 15 summers to make ready for this moment, and now I only have a matter of days. Tolucc, this has been a most beguiling past few moons, I must say. I truly did not expect the turns my fate has taken. I suppose that speaks much to my capacity as a reader of the heavens. I'm not blind to what goes on in Foundations, so I will not claim that my life is in any way difficult. But that does not mean I do not have my share of troubles, however trivial they may be. Being anything but first in line to countship is not all horrors and rainbows. The Count only true cares about is his newly appointed heir. Just like the rest of my family, they expect great things from him, not me. From me, they expect nothing. For a long time, I tried to prove that I could be as great as my cousin. It is why I went to Charlayan. It is why I've tried to do things I had no business even trying. Then, once I realized no one was looking, I simply stopped caring. My actions becoming more and more outlandish, because at the end of the day, that's what everyone expected. But then you two walked through that door and helped me realize that maybe life is more than a coffin that has been fitted for me. Maybe the fate I believed was mine was not mine at all. And for helping me see that, Tolucc, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Word at the Anatheum Astrologicum is the Geniquinard has begun preparations for a journey. I have good news and bad news. The good news is preparations for the symposium on the Charlayan astrology has been progressing smoothly, as we have expectedly encountered very little resistance from the vault. They have even gone to the trouble of securing us a spacious venue for the event. The bad news is, the spacious venue in question lies in Falcon's Nest. Lest you wonder, I speak of the same frigid building site in the middle of nowhere that you will doubtless have heard so many good things about. Yes, my friend, that Falcon's Nest. Yet I suppose that this may be a blessing in disguise. I'm just not certain what blessing may be. Perhaps we should all make for the hamlet and see. Greetings, Tolucc. It appears that not only is our symposium to be held in a tiny hamlet malms away from civilization crawling with people who cannot even spell astrology, let alone grasp how it works, but that no one in this whole town has even been informed of our arrival. The three of us have been spending the last bell speaking with whomever will listen, inviting them to attend the event so at least we won't be speaking to an empty forum. Oh, worry not, my friend. We have saved the Northern District just for you. Charlene astrology, eh? You a heretic? Because you're talking like one. There's only one kind of astrology in ISHGARD, and it ain't the heathen kind. Considering as you are an unbeliever, I suppose the knights might allow you to yap and yammer, but cause too much commotion, you'll be disappeared like the other lad. Now when was that? Bloody heretics. An outrider, and his wounds look deep. Is there a cutter nearby? Please, I have 5 children. What is this sorcery? My cuts, they knit themselves. Are you a healer, adventurer? If so, I have another request of you. There were others in my scouting party. We were all wounded, some of us more gravely than others. I fear that my fellow knights may be in grave danger. Would you seek them out and tend to them as you did me? I'll report to Sir Redwall, but fear that maybe by the time he can muster reinforcements, several men will have perished. How did you... It was as if I was never dealt a single wound. What manner of magics do you wield, friend? Astromancy? But I thought the stars served only to grant us insight into Horde's movements. Why are there not more Astrologians in the field? You and your companions are in Falcon's Nest to discuss this very topic? Perhaps I can persuade others in the garrison to attend. Now I must hurry back to the hamlet. My captain will want a full report of the day's happenings. Where have you been? When you did not return, we visited the northern gates and found the area astir with night activity. You left the hamlet to aid wounded scouts? You could have been killed! Or eaten! Or killed then eaten! Or eaten then killed! What is this? You say your display of astromancy has impressed the knights into attending the event? This may work in our advantage. If the knights begin clamoring for astrologists to be assigned to their ranks, then the sea may just listen. Let us find these good men and then inform them that the symposium is about to commence. Those hoar-frosted balls. Not a single person came. I told you this was a terrible plan. Use the confusion from the jam-packed symposium to approach the target, she says. You'll have her out of the hamlet before her companions even know she's gone, she says. Even a blind babe could have seen that no one would gather for a talk on astrology in the middle of a swiping... The Astrologian who tended my wounds. As you can see, both me and my fellow knight made swift recoveries, thanks to your wonderful magics, of course. Reinforcements from the garrison never arrived. Reinforcement... Oh, yes, I spoke with Sir Red Wolf myself. Perhaps he felt there was no need for reinforcements after I, convinced him what an able healer you were. Yes, that's it. You're most certainly the reason, yep. And as much as you would like to attend, the captain's already assigned us to another mission. I apologize to you and your companions. Perhaps we can make, the next symposium? Carry on, then. Well, that is that, then. The vault wins. Do not think of it as such, Lady Levava. This is but one hurdle we must leap. The vault wants us to stop and turn around, and they will continue placing hurdles before us until we do. But we cannot let that discourage us. We must carry on until we reach our destination, or they run out of hurdles. Ha! You cry over hurdles? You know not how lucky you are. Did you come for the symposium? No. I wouldn't let anyone see me at that gathering. I'd be branded a heretic and sent a witch drop. Or worse, they'd just slit my throat and toss me out to the beasts. Like as they did the other Astrologian from the old world. The other Astrologian? When was this? When you reach my age, all the summers melt together. My hair still had color, so it must have been at least a score. Mayhap more, mayhap less. There was an Astrologian who was... But it was a long ago. It could not have been anyone you knew. We cannot dwell on the past. We must needs find a way to interpret the cards we have been dealt, so that we might benefit from the present. Our present. No. It could not have been anyone I knew. I never had a chance to... You're right. Jennicord, we mustn't let the vault or bandits or closed minds prevent us from achieving what we came here for. The stars will point the way. And we will help the people of ISHGARD see that as well. Lady Levava did not take the old man's recollection of slain Astrologian well at all. I understand that hearing of a fellow colleague's death might unnerve someone, but you would think that she had lost her father. Oh, Jennicord, what have you done? I will not live down this offense. You see, the Astrologian of whom the old man spoke, it so happens that I knew him well. His name was Rufin, and he was my friend and confidant when I studied in Charlian, my only friend. He followed me back to ISHGARD when my stay in the city-state was cut short by the Exodus. His dream was to rekindle interest in the forgotten techniques which gave rise to Ishgardian astrology. But this was a time when the Holy See was even more opposed to foreign ideas as they are now. That evening I discovered him bleeding at the bureau. It was one of the saddest in my life. But even at the hour of his death, Rufin remained strong, and he made me promise that I would not let his dream fade because of the closed-minded. Sometimes the mere gravity of a situation can harm a person more than a blade itself. If we can learn to wield that gravity so that it may benefit us, perhaps then the healing can begin. Jenniquinard appears to have information on your next symposium. The vault went and outdid themselves. The location for our next symposium? The Convictory, a makeshift camp for a band of bickering knights. I've spoken at length with Lady Lavava about how we might handle this second inconvenience, so as not to meet the same fate as we did in Falcon's Nest. I fear the worst, but the lady believes that we may be approaching this all wrong, that we should embrace the situation and use it to our advantage. I believe she is merely unaccustomed to the thin alpine air and her wits are not in order. Perchance we should make for the camp and see for ourselves. Tread lightly, Tolucc. This is not the work of bandits. Quiperin's hurts were dealt by the convictors. You were assaulted by the men sworn to protect us? This is madness! The vault led the knights to believe that a party of Astrologians would be arriving to aid them in scrying the location of the Horde's next attack. They took out their frustration on poor Quiperin when they learned I can foretell the whims of a dragon about as well as those of HIGHLANDS. But no, we must not let this discourage us. If words have no weight with these men, then let our magics do the speaking. But you're an Astrologian. You can't heal people. That's not what Astrologians do. The pain. It's gone. How did you... My wounds. It's as if they were never there. Wait, who's going to believe that I slew a dragon if I haven't the wounds to show for it? I don't know whether to thank you or slit your throat. Though, I suppose I wouldn't be able to do either if you hadn't healed me with those queer magics. So this is a day I see it fit to forgive you. You. What's wrong, Lavava? Have you tapped too deeply into your mental reserves? Perhaps you should take a moment of respite. That blood is not the knight's. Ah, the loyal lapdog. Without you to state the obvious, where would your masters be, pray tell? You again! One might think these markings would betray my identity, but you Eorzeans have a singular capacity to look without seeing. I'm amazed you're not constantly wandering in a bonfire or off cliffs. I've grown weary of this masquerade, and I'm done with entrusting my fate to this realm's blundering mercenaries. My name is Selly, and I'm here to take the Lady Lavava into custody so that she can be transported back to Sherlian and tried for her crimes. Taken into custody? On whose authority? You are here without permission of the Forum, performing acts which amount to treason. Your grandfather has already been detained and questioned. I'm giving you the opportunity to turn yourself in and put an end to this farce, once and for all. Do as I say and no one will be harmed, yourself included, Lady Lavava. But Lady Lavava, I thought you and your grandfather were dispatched on an official expedition. It seems that Lavava has not told you everything. Did you know that it was her father who was killed nearly 15 summers past? 15 summers past, Jenna Quinard. Your adventurer friend seems already to have put two and two together. Why didn't she tell you earlier? I cannot fathom. What else are you leaving out of the... being left out of Jennifer Dudier? But... Silence! This is my final warning. When you see me again, you will either give yourself up or you will die at my blade. Think on that, Lavava. Tolucc, Lady Lavava's wound is deep. I do not believe I can heal it on my own. Lend me your aid. Thank you, my friends. For someone who claims she was hired to bring me back to Sharlayan, her aim was quite true. Lady Lavava, this Selly claimed that you were not here with the blessing of the Forum. Is this so? Why did you not see fit to mention this? My grandfather knew the Forum would never allow us to come to ISHGARD, and that their contemplation over the matter was merely a tactic to stall and discourage us. The stars had spoken to my grandfather, and he was not about to turn a deaf ear to them. I kept silent because I did not wish to let the petty politicking of men, thousands of malms to the north, stand in the way of our dream to spread the word of Sharlayan astrology. And such was my father's dream, until he was killed for it by close-minded peasants. But Rufin never once spoke ill of those he wished to enlighten, even at his end. How do you know my father's name? Your father and I became close friends when I was in Sharlayan. When the Exodus forced me to return home, he asked if he could accompany me, saying that he wished to try and convince those who once believed in the stars' power to look at the skies again. And we did for several moons. My countrymen were deeply skeptical and slow to warm to the idea of heathen magics. Some were even rude, but he never gave up on them, right up until he was... I was there during your father's last moments. I heard a commotion from his room late one night and went in to check, only to find him bleeding and slumped over his diary, which he was writing when he was attacked. With his last strength, he handed me the diary and asked that I do not blame my people, and I continue our work. I believe this belongs to you now. I do not know if I can forgive those who killed my father. I do not expect you to forgive us yet, but knowing that he did, even at the moment of his death, perhaps will help you one day understand. You have always reminded me of Rufin, even before I knew he was your father. Your passion for your discipline equals his own, and may even exceed it. Father, did you know what fate awaited you in this realm? Did you see all this? Did the stars have you merely pave the way for me? If they did, then I shall not allow anyone to stand in your way. You are right, good man, and so I shall allow this breach of etiquette, but if you fail to address Lady Lavava properly again, I'll have you spit shining the privy back at Dudier Manor. Oh, leave him be, Jennicoard. Without Quimperane here, I'd have been tied up and shipped back to the old world moons ago. The stars have him here with me. He's not going anywhere, neither am I. I'm done with symposiums. This is not what my father wanted. He came here to speak of astrology. He came here to use it, and so that's what I shall do. There are still many convictors who can benefit from these magics. And what a better way to convince people of your greatness than by ensuring they remain alive long enough to sing your praises? John, will you tell me of my father? I'd be delighted, my lady. Unless, that is, you mean now, as I have prior engagement with a pair of lovely baronesses from House Desmedale, and I would not wish to keep them waiting. To think that my old friend Rufin may have seen what grim fate awaited him in ISHGARD, but choose to come anyway, knowing that it would inspire both me and his daughter. Gods, sometimes these celestial machinations are simply too grand in scope to grasp. However, if it is as we believe, then we must, as Quimperane so bluntly stated, make sure that not disrupt us on our path to that fate. Perhaps it's time I revealed to you a more powerful form of Malefic, so that you may be better prepared for the trials that are to follow. Ah, that furrow upon your brow suggests that you could have used this spell earlier in your training. In retrospect, I would be inclined to agree. Jennequinard has the latest information on Lady Lavava's current location. I'm happy to report that Lavava is fine and well and hasn't been attacked by bandits, dastards, curs, Charlian spies, or disgruntled knights once since her last encounter at the Convictory. After restoring health to all the convictors so they might return to getting wounded again, she journeyed northwest into DRAVANIan forelands. If that journey was without incident, she should be in Tailfeather now, tending to the chocobo hunters there. Might I suggest that we go and join her? Tolucc? Tolucc, it's good to see you again. I pray you have not been neglecting your training? Now, you may be wondering why I chose Tailfeather of all places to visit next. Well, the truth of the matter is I did not choose it at all. It chose me. The hunters here somehow heard of what we had done at the Convictory and placed a formal request to have me come and tend to the hamlet's wounded. I'd like to believe this proof that word of benefits of Charlian astrology is slowly but surely spreading through the realm. But enough talk. There are still many ailing souls that require succor. Would you and Jennequinard mind assisting me as you did in the Western Highlands? An honest healer, here in Tailfeather? Now I have seen everything. I don't know who you are, but you're good in my book. Praise the 12, I'm healed! These men and women have chosen a horrendously dangerous profession. The chocobo's talons can rip open flesh to the bone, and a single kick can knock an otherwise hale hunter out for a sinite, if he survives it. Many of them seem surprised, grateful, of course, but surprised, that we were here helping them. Does the hamlet not have its own healers? Do the Temple Knights not dispatch their hospitalators this far from ISHGARD? The Holy See only cares for the war with the dragons. It cannot be bothered with a handful of hunters, despite the fact these hunters are its citizens. I was told on my arrival that they managed to make with makeshift poultices, using herbs gathered from around the hamlet. When the wounds are more severe, they turn to their sole barber who, well, is also the local butcher. I'm sorry, my frustration with the situation coupled with the day's efforts have me slightly drained. Might I be allowed a few moments of respite? Comparaine, Tolucc, would you be so kind as to accompany the lady on her stroll? It's been far too long since Charlian Assassin showed her face, and I'm reading it conducted earlier this morning showed a day rife with conflict and confusion. I'm glad you came, Tolucc. There's something important I must tell you. Since Jennequinard gave me my father's journal, I have spent my nights poring over his writings, trying to piece together what I could about his life. It appears he was hard-working and just. He trusted all and truly wanted to help people in need. He believed that knowledge should not be hoarded like food, but shared amongst the intellectually starved. He also knew that there were those who would see him stopped. Persons who would use their influence to trick and frighten the form into believing that knowledge should be kept at one's breast. Persons who saw my father as a threat. His final few entries all speak of how he feared for his life, and how one man in particular was working to see him dead. That man's name? It's not important if, in the end, it turns out your father was killed by the very people he was foolish enough to trust. People who, in their slaying of the good man, proved that they were unworthy of the knowledge he so freely offered them, and now, here you are, making the same mistake as he. Continue with this foolishness, and you too will suffer his fate. Do not dare talk of my father as if you knew him. You know nothing. Your mind is as closed as the minds on the backs of the old world who believe that hiding in the books will shield them from the pain and suffering of the real world. Such passion. It is a pity it remains misdirected. My employer only wishes to see you back safe in Charlian. The Forum recognizes your talents. You are an asset to our nation and its people. We would have you live long and prosperous life so that you may rise even higher than your father ever had the opportunity to. But we both know you are far too stubborn to take this gift so graciously offered. You would rather fight, and you know, so would I. No more games, Lavara. Let us end this, right here, right now, with your precious stars as our witness. Spare no one, not even the girl. Are you alright? I heard the commotion and came as quickly as I could. Not as quickly as these four. You remember the hunters so gravely wounded not less than a bell ago? If memory serves me, they could barely lift a finger, let alone rush headlong into a heated battle and help us turn the tide. Don't be too hard on you. The silk shirt. Turns out we didn't need his help any road. Who would have thought it, eh? Real life fighting astrologians. Now I truly have seen everything. Lavara, I dare say those men would not have risked their lives had they little respect for us or our craft. You are right. Our actions have done more than promote Charlian astrology than any long-winded discourse. Why, I expect this very night the tale of your daring deeds will be told 100 times over in Mead's halls across the Forelands. Which means it will not be long before the Forum is heard as well. We Charlians may have officially abandoned this realm, but our ears remain. If the one who hired Sally is who I think it is, then I expect not less than a formal edict on extradition to be issued. An edict of extradition? But Charlian has no power to force ISHGARD to deliver you into their hands. Furthermore, what exactly is it you have done wrong, but allowed others to partake in the great nation's bottomless well of knowledge, as I did more than 15 summers ago when I studied in her halls? Things changed after you left, Jenna. Many believed it was my father's death that tipped the scales in favor of closing Charlian's doors and locking away all our knowledge. If the Forum deems it so, I could be arrested and imprisoned for the theft of national resources, and I see no reason why your Holy See, who has already shown the disdain for our efforts, would stand in its way. So what do we do? Your grandfather? Your father? They have given up so much to see you here. We cannot just concede defeat, now that we have finally begun to make headway. I never said we would, John. I have no intention of giving up or giving in. Doing so would deny the sacrifices made by my father and grandfather. The stars have shown me the path I must take. There is no other. And it begins back at Tailfeather, healing those who aided us. I will see to the two, you and ISHGARD, once I have settled matters here. Quaiparain will see I arrived unharmed. Lady Lavava still has not returned from Tailfeather. Oh, but don't worry. I've had word that she simply intends to stay a few turns of the sun longer. What we should be worrying about, however, is the form in their pending decision on the companion's extradition. If an official edict is drafted, I fear we may find ourselves at the mercy of the vault, and if that were to happen, there will be little we can do to keep Lavava here, short of starting a war. If only we had more time. When I was studying in Charlian, I heard whispers of an ancient astromatic spell, which could stop time and very movements of the heavens. All of my professors denied it existed, the only technique remotely similar being something called time dilation, a process in which diverting a celestial body's otherwise straight flow of aether creates the illusion of slowed time, increasing the duration of beneficial magics. I pity I never learned to cast it. Genequinard has some exciting news. Word of Lady Lavava's charity has begun spreading, my friend. I have attended more than one luncheon where it is positively dripping off the tongues of all the good lords and ladies. And the knights? Oh, the knights. They have started rumbling about why magics that not only heal the wounded but also enhance the strength of the healthy are not being employed to save the lives of those on the front lines. Needless to say, the Vault is not amused. Their plan to have us fade into obscurity has rebounded upon them, and now they are scrambling to twist the situation to their advantage. Listen, Tolucc, the Vault would have us officially attend an operation currently underway in the western Highlands village of Hemlock. The settlement was abandoned after the calamity, and has since been overrun with beasts of all manner. The Holy See seeks to reclaim it, and my uncle, the Count, has generously volunteered his knights to clear the area of any remaining threats. It's a win-win for the Vault. The operation is small enough and far enough away from the capital that even if it is a success, no one will pay it half a mind, but the Vault will be able to say that they answered the pleas of the knights, and if, for any reason, the operation were to fail, then the Vault would be able to attribute the failure to the Astrologian presence, and turn the high houses against Lady Lavava. I spoke with the lady about this, and she said she was not interested in the politics of the situation, only that it was her duty to aid people in need. We should speak with her, and soon. Let us make haste to Hemlock. We severely underestimated the strength of our enemies, and now my men and women find themselves overwhelmed. The tight wedges we had at the day's onset have all degraded into small knots of fighting, and the number of wounded is growing faster than our champlains can heal them. Thank the fairy you arrived when you did. Where am I? Where is my company? I must return to them. I shan't forget this, Astrologian. I am forever in your debt. You have my thanks, but there must still be many who require succor. I heard a woman scream beyond this very boulder not moments before you arrived. What have we here? Sylvester, you who vowed never to set foot in this barbarian land again? Unless... Clever girl. Yes, it was I who hired Seelie to bring you back to Charlian. And if you had come back with us quietly, you'd be free right now, rather than a wanted criminal facing a trial, imprisonment, even execution. Depending on what you have told these tame savages of yours. Yes, my dear, I offered you a chance and you foolishly refused it. The edict has been issued and I am here to collect you. Though I must place some of the blame for that on our friend Seelie. Had she not insisted on playing games, mayhap you would have been displayed reason back in the Black Shroud. Instead, she merely added fuel to a fire already hot with your inherent stubbornness. And now I am forced to make the journey to this filthy realm to clean up her mess. And I suppose that starts with these companions of yours. Tolucc. Take Jonquinard and leave, right now. Neither of you are ready for magics of this variety he wields. But what of you, my lady? I'm going to reclaim my father's journal. Brave. Your father was brave. Your father is also dead. Lady Lavara! Ah, now I understand Seelie's frustration. This realm is truly overrun with vermin. How we suffered here for so long I will never know. Very well, Levavar. You leave me no choice. You may already know we have questioned Mace regarding your unauthorized passage into Eorzea. What you may not know is that we still hold him in the dark cells, just as a precautionary measure. Of course, we would not want to see him flee again before the trial. Now, your grandfather is not as spry as he used to be, and I'm uncertain how long the sanity of a man of his age will last in complete darkness, though the longer you delay, the closer we come to finding out. If you wish to see your grandfather released, you will come to the abandoned city in the Dravanian hinterlands. There, my airship will be waiting to take you back to the old world, where you will be tried, fairly, of course. I suppose you could run, but know that doing so would have grave consequences for your grandfather, and possibly your mother as well, and we would still eventually find you. Wait, my father's diary! He may still be close. Wait here! Lady Lavar, who was that? I have the strangest feeling I should know him from somewhere. Sylvester, leader of the bibliotheques, a powerful group of conservative fundamentalists who seek to control the world of Charlian's knowledge. They believe that our people should not become involved in history, only to witness it, then analyze it until all the lives lived and lost are but numbers on a page. You may remember Sylvester Jonquinard because he is the self-same man who has pushed for Ord Charlian to abandon its doors. He has used my father's death as his rallying cry. And now I am certain that he had my father killed. Near the end of my father's diary, he mentions being contacted by a young Sylvester, who happened to be an older classmate of his when they were both at the studium. Sylvester, looking to make a name for himself as a politician, warned my father against continuing to disseminate knowledge of Charlian astrology in Eorzea, a warning my father, of course, did not heed. Soon after, several attempts were made upon my father's life. When he subsequently looked into the matter, he discovered that there was a price on his head, and that Sylvester had put it there. I discovered a contract signed by the wretched folded in my father's journal. He had planned on revealing it to the forum on his return, but he never had the chance. Jonquinard, my father gave you that journal before he died, but you never once opened it? I did not think it was mine to read. But what you say, if it is true, we must get that diary back. Come, it seems the fighting has died down. Let us report to the captain of the knights, then return to ISHGARD so that we may plan our next move. Many lives were saved because of you. If this is what we can expect from Charlian astrology, I see no reason why we shouldn't have knights trained in the field. I will recommend this to the Lord Commander. I suspect he will be pleased to see the day won with so few casualties. If you require our services again, you need only ask. Come, Tolucc, let us hasten back to ISHGARD. Moments ago we received a missive from the commander of my family's guard. He thanked us again for our assistance in Hemlock, and has formally requested that Lady Levava train several of his knights in Charlian astrology. The vault, however, remains silent, and I believe this silence to be calculated if the edict issued for Lady Levava's extradition has arrived. The need only turn a blind eye to Sylvester's actions until he has spirited the lady from the realm, and people simply forget she was ever here. But we are not going to let that happen, are we, my lady? I'm sorry, Jenna-Gonard, but I no longer see how we cannot. Sylvester has my grandfather. He has threatened to take my mother, and he now has the one thing that could have saved them both, my father's journal. No, Jenna-Gonard, I cannot deny my fit any longer. I have done several readings since our return, and every one is the same. Deceit, manipulation, submission. My path is clear. You, however, can carry on. Sylvester has no authority over you, or you, Tolucc. See that my father's dream is fulfilled. Promise me that much. I shall promise you that and more, my lady. Quimperain and I will see you to the place of meeting and do whatever possible to make certain that Sylvester keeps his word. You know that by attending me, you put yourself in danger. He has shown he will not hesitate to kill anyone who stands in his way, and now that he knows I know of his involvement in my father's death, but still, you would stand by my side in my last moments of yours, yeah? I do not deserve friends such as you. Tolucc, Aether is the building block of all that surrounds us, meaning that everything is connected. Someone closely attuned with that Aether can, if, in a sense, link themselves with others, feeling their joy, feeling their pain. Scholars of the soul call this empathy. Crystal gazers and card readers call it the Wheel of Fortune. We Astrologians call it collective unconsciousness. Whatever you call it, I feel that bond with you, both of you. Thank you. Jenna-Gonard and Lady Levava appear to be ready to depart, with or without you. I'm quite aware that the mere notion of accompanying Levava to the answering quarter is bordering on absurd, but I cannot in good faith abandon our good friend in our time of need, not after all we have been through. I am joyed to see that you have come to the same conclusion as well. You two are foolish, but I would not trade friends such as you for all the gold in the Aurum Vale. But there's no gold in the... My lady, might I ask that you entertain a second option? You said that your father's diary contained a document which implicates Sylvester in Rufin's murder. What if, and I fully understand the enormity of this, but what if Sylvester has yet to lay eyes on that document? Suppose he only took a look at the diary to provoke you. If we could somehow retrieve it before you boarded the airship, then we would have a bargaining chip of our own. But this man is the leader of the bibliotheques. Their sole purpose in life is hoarding of knowledge. Of course he read the diary, and knowing Sylvester, the document would have been set to flame the moment he discovered it. Unless we told him there was another document, one that I removed from the diary to have examined, one that was not in the diary when he stole it. Of course, there's no such page, but it would not be easy enough to draft something up from memory of what I saw, something that would appear official from a distance. It just might work, though there's always the chance that they may simply attempt to take the document by force. Were that to happen, we would be fortunate to escape with our lives. Sylvester is a formidable astrologian. Some say he even possesses the power to stop time. But I thought those were only... No, we mustn't think of that. There's little time left before we're scheduled meeting in the answering quarter. Lady Levava's plan is all we have. If we are to save both her and her family, we must act, and trust that the stars will guide us to victory. Nay, on 15 summers have come and gone since I last set foot on the paths of contemplation, yet this place appears as if it hasn't been inhabited for centuries. Nature is the greatest of levelers. Jennequinard, she provides us with what we need, but when we are done with it, she is quick to take it back in what is and always has been rightfully hers. There is still time before Sylvester is to arrive. I'd like to take a walk and see where my father lived. Just knowing that I tread the same ground as he may grant my mind peace. Well then, I might suggest a rooftop garden directly to the south of here. Your father and I would spend many a night there gazing up at the stars and prattling on about our dreams into the small hours. It is where he first told me of your mother, your birth mother, not the aunt who cared for you after Lady Bird died in labor, and the child she was carrying. I wonder if my father knew that one day I'd be here, standing under the same sky he did. Did he know that he would have a daughter who was as stubborn as he? A daughter who put her life and lives of those she loved in danger because of an unfulfilled dream? I think he did. And I think if he were here now, he'd be proud. Proud that I at least tried. Proud that I did not let fate control me, but that I rather walked hand in hand with fate down a path my father left. Not only for me, but for all those who would carry in their hearts the same dream. I believe he would be as well, Lady Lavava. Though I do not fully realize it until recently, these past moons, it has been as if Rufin was here by my side once again. The passion, the stubbornness, the talent. I do not think he would stand idly by as Sylvester had his way, and so I believe neither should we. Thank you, Jean. I know I have been hard on you, but it is only because you were an incompetent astrologian with the aversion to training, not because you were anything but a good man, and a good friend. Now, let us see what the stars have in mind for us today. Sylvester is not a man to be late. He will be here. Ah, ever so predictable. Lavava, I'm sorry to inform you there has been a change of plans. There will be no return to your homeland, no tear-filled reunion with your grandfather, no trial, only a sentence, and that sentence shall be carried out here, by mine hand. You see, after reading your father's diary, it became clear that you and your wretched friends know too much. You would not believe how long I have been searching for that document. The last one that connected me to your father's unfortunate accident. I tracked down and had all the others destroyed, but this one has eluded me for almost 2 decades. The last? John, Tolucc, it appears we are left but with a single path. There was only ever one, my lady, and we shall see it to the end. Wait! If you wish to see your grandfather live, you will not kill me! That was never our intention, Sylvester. No. I only wish to ask a few simple favors, the first being the return of my father's diary. You will then send word back to the old world to have my grandfather released immediately, and finally, you will return to Charlene and report to the Forum that I have disappeared and presumed deceased. Fail to do these things, and I shall tell the Forum all I know of my involvement in my father's death. I doubt they will be as generous with their mercy as I. And what? You shall remain here and continue to spread our knowledge across this worm-eaten realm like it was sweet cream butter? You know not what you do. The barbarians of this realm have shown that they can only use knowledge to destroy each other. They corrupt it, they lessen it, and then they forget it. They never once shown they are worthy to the knowledge they so defile. And yet you would still give it to them. Very well, I shall do as you ask. But I know that the Forum is ever listening, ever watching. Should you continue your escapades here in ISHGARD, they will find out. And they will send others until they have succeeded where I have failed. Then you'd best make certain they do not. You are a powerful man who also happens to be a master of lies and deceit. I pray the task should not prove too difficult, and if it does, well then, I can always show them what manner of man you truly are. I do not think there will be any need for that. Sylvester, however wicked, is not a fool. He will not sacrifice what he has spent the past 2 decades building over a girl he, even with his back to the cobbles, sees as an inferior, especially if you have offered him a means of accomplishing it without causing him to lose face. His pride, of course, will ache, but it's not little wine won't cure. You're right, Jenna Quinard. Something I never thought I would admit, at least out loud. So, does this mean you will remain in the sea and continue your teachings? Of course I will. There is the pending contract with HIGHLANDS, my obligations to the Convictors and the Hunters of Tailfeather, and then, of course, there's the matter of your incomplete training. If memory serves me, you still only opened half of the Heaven's Gates. Well, things did not go completely as planned, but we arrived at the fate intended for us nonetheless. Now, the question is, what do we do with this fate we have been granted? I believe this warrants another reading, but perhaps after we've had a bite to eat. Ah, Tolucc, you're just in time to greet the Anathem's newest member. May I present with you Lord Rufin? Why the surprise? But I believe I know the answer. Your senses are doubtless reeling from having witnessed poor Lady Zavada's tragic end in the Hinterlands. Contrary to popular opinion, I was not murdered at all, but merely on a long and winding journey that has finally brought me back to ISHGARD so that I may teach the secrets of Charlene astrology once again. I mean to show the people that fate is a path that need not be walked in darkness, that the stars can be used to light the way. And my first lesson? That those who oppose the celestial guidance shall be doomed to mark all eternity.